Anders, the question that I have, and I think Tom would agree, is can they come up with a solution for Syria, even if they agree, or is the country too broken right now to really fix?
I don't see Putin and Obama agreeing on Syria. Obama is strongly against the continuation of the Assad regime, and Putin is all about maintaining Assad in power because Assad is protecting Putin's base, naval base at Tartus. And that's a very important base to him. Syria has been Russia's main ally since 1972, and Putin really wants to maintain Assad in that power position.
And the people who are fighting Assad, the various different groups, have said they won't negotiate with Assad. So unless Putin is willing to cast him under the bus, there's no hope.
Yeah, Assad has killed 250, 300,000 people in Syria. He has gassed his people. He's dropping barrel bombs on them. The rebels, the Sunni rebels there, will not negotiate.
I just saw Lawrence of Arabia for the first time in ages, and there's a scene at the end where Anthony Quinn's standing up on a table or whatever in Damascus as the Arab League tries to get its act together. The borders from T.E. Lawrence, they're gone, aren't they? The borders of Iraq, the borders of Syria are gone. Turkey is a little concerned about this, to say the least. Anders Corr, where are we 5 years from now with our new borders? Are there any?
Well, Syria and Iraq are both very close. I mean, Syria is definitely a failed state at this point. Iraq is close to it.
Those borders don't matter that Mike and I memorized in school.
Those borders are not there anymore. People are moving back and forth. They're totally, even the border between Turkey and these areas is insecure. People are flowing over them. Foreign terrorist fighters are coming in from all over the world. 25,000 foreign terrorist fighters have gone into Syria and Iraq.
What is the implication of a failed Syrian state for the world?
Well, it's chaos. It's dangerous. There's a lot of attention to it. There's a lot of refugees. So the refugee crisis that's flowing into Europe is a serious issue for the stability, future stability of Europe.
Is this Afghanistan post-Russia on steroids, where it becomes the home of the world's terrorist groups, and we get the refugee crisis on top of that?
Yes, and I don't think that Putin right now has the military or economic muscle to really go in and do counterinsurgency operations.
Well, he's got a problem because they've got 20 million Muslims in that country, and they're a much softer target than the United States, which has been hardening against terrorist attacks for a long time.
Right. And I think that it would be a major mistake for Putin to align himself too closely with Assad regime.
What you are expert at, we go to the Mediterranean, and a lot of people like me don't understand Syria has shoreline on the Mediterranean. That's where the Russians are. How effective can those troops be and that military material be inland? How far inland do you envision that Mr. Putin's people can work?
Well, the jets and the helicopters, attack helicopters he's putting in there, can cover most of the country in Syria. However,
hundreds of miles inland.
Yes. However, they're not going to be very effective. They can do pinpoint strikes against a terrorist here or there, but they're not going to be very effective in doing anything other than defending Tartus, Latakia, and the Assad regime. He can defend what he's got now. He can't really make many gains.
Well, we have seen now the world start to employ air strikes within Syria against ISIS. Is there some way the U.S. and Russia are going to be able to work together against that one faction?
Well, I mean, we can do pinpoint strikes without boots on the ground. We're not going to do much. Even with boots on the ground, we weren't effective in Iraq and Afghanistan, so that's not a very viable strategy. Petraeus has promoted safe havens for refugees. He's promoted potentially no-flight zones. However, even if you do have a safe haven for refugees in Iraq or Syria, that could be a location where jihadis could use as a base.
Anders, I want to make you work this morning. You've been a critic of the President administration and their foreign policy. What are they getting right? What is John Kerry getting right as he deals with these intractable issues?
Well, I think that they're trying to support the current premier of Iraq, and I think that is the right thing to do right now. The current premier of Iraq is a Shia. However, he's somewhat resistant to Iran. He's currently been forced by pressure from Iran to align with Russia, Iran, Assad. Their potential, he's announced that there's going to now be a communications and command and control center in Baghdad. which is, shows that we're losing influence. We need to reinvest in his premiership and try to bring him back to our side.
David Gura, jump in.
In light of that, we have this news that Iraq is now going to be sharing intelligence information with folks besides the U.S. How big a deal is that for us to brook?
That's a big deal. We really need to do more to bring him back to our side. And it shouldn't be too expensive to support that regime locally in Baghdad. I'm not saying that we're putting ground troops into all of Iraq. I'm just saying we need to locally support him to resist influence as much as possible from Iran and Russia.
Yeah, I look, Anders, at where we are in the drama before the United Nations. Are these boilerplate speeches, or will there be real messaging?
Well, Putin is really grandstanding at the UN.
Is that a boilerplate speech when he grandstands?
Yes, he's absolutely out there trying to gain public support by showing that he's supposedly trying to put a hand towards Obama and ask for cooperation. But in fact, he's asking for something that we will never give.
Right. Mike, I saw a photograph of the two leaders, I don't know when it was, months ago. The difference in body language, I don't believe I've ever seen as stark in a diplomatic photograph.
Well,
even
they're so very different people.
Yeah.
They're completely different personalities. Yeah. And levels of experience in negotiation. I'm just wondering, Anders, the news flow out of the region so bad and so continuously bad. Is this just a disaster in the making? A train, like we're sitting here like Gomez Adams waiting for the two trains to crash, a disaster that's coming down the tracks that nobody's going to stop?
It's a very intractable issue. The United States has to be very, very careful not to get too involved, just partially because of the money. I mean, we've spent trillions of dollars, if you include interest payments, if you include all of the extra payments that go along with these wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. We do not want to throw a lot of good money after bad money there.
Anders Corr, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate this morning.